Science is built on pushing the boundaries of the unknown. But sometimes, behind the locked doors of classified laboratories, ambition twists into absolute madness. From psychological torture disguised as research to reckless tests that nearly tore our atmosphere apart, history is full of moments where humanity tried to play God and the universe pushed back. Today, we are uncovering 10 terrifying scientific experiments that were abruptly and permanently shut down because they were simply too dangerous to finish. Brace yourself. Number 10. The Kola Superdeep Borehole. In 1970, Soviet scientists began a massive geological experiment to drill as deep as possible into the Earth's crust to uncover the planet's deepest secrets. For 2 decades, they drilled deeper than humanity had ever gone. But at 12 kilometers down, the experiment hit an unexpected, terrifying wall. The temperature skyrocketed to a chaotic 180 degrees C, twice what scientists predicted. The heat became so intense that the rocks began to behave like plastic, threatening to swallow the equipment whole. Fearing they would trigger an uncontrollable subterranean collapse, the project was abruptly abandoned in 1992. Number 9. Biosphere 2. In 1991, 8 scientists locked themselves inside a massive, sealed glass dome in Arizona. It was the ultimate ecological experiment to see if humans could survive in a completely isolated, artificial ecosystem. Within months, the dream turned into a living nightmare. Oxygen levels suddenly plummeted to dangerously low levels, leaving the crew chronically suffocated. Microbes in the soil were consuming oxygen faster than the plants could recreate it. As starvation and hypoxia set in, extreme psychological paranoia tore the team apart. The artificial world completely collapsed from within, forcing a shutdown to save the scientists' lives. Number 8. Project Stargate. During the Cold War, the U.S. military funded a highly classified program to weaponize parapsychology. They wanted to see if human subjects could use psychic, remote viewing to spy on Soviet nuclear facilities. For years, intelligence agencies pushed subjects into deep sensory isolation, attempting to map and exploit the boundaries of the human mind. Some operatives claimed to successfully visualize secret Soviet coordinates thousands of miles away. However, the psychological toll on the subjects was severe, leading to chronic mental instability. Realizing that the data was highly unpredictable and dangerous to weaponize, the CIA officially terminated the project in 1995. Number 7. The Tuskegee Experiment. In 1932, the U.S. Public Health Service began a medical study on hundreds of African American men to track the natural progression of untreated syphilis. The subjects were lied to, told they were being treated for bad blood. The experiment took a dark, criminal turn in the 1940s when penicillin became the proven cure. Instead of treating the dying men, researchers intentionally withheld the medicine, watching them suffer just to collect autopsy data. For 40 years, poor citizens were left to go blind, insane, and die. It wasn't until a whistleblower leaked the horrific truth to the press in 1972 that the government was forced to immediately shut down the project in absolute shame. Number 6. Vladimir Demikhov's organ transplants. In 1954, Soviet scientist Vladimir Demikhov shocked the medical world by attempting to push the absolute limits of organ transplantation and life extension. Demikhov surgically grafted the head and front legs of a small puppy onto the neck of a fully grown German shepherd. Unbelievably, both heads woke up, breathed, and drank water simultaneously, creating a living, breathing chimera. But nature fought back violently. The host bodies rapidly rejected the foreign tissue, causing agonizing suffering. The ethical horror and the pure biological danger of the procedure forced Soviet authorities to pull the plug on the project. Number 5. The Marburg virus research. In 1967, inside a highly secure laboratory in Marburg, Germany, scientists were conducting routine virus transmission tests using imported monkeys. They thought they had everything under control. But they were wrong. A highly contagious, weapon-grade pathogen began mutating inside the test subjects. Due to a fatal flaw in the lab's decontamination protocols, the virus escaped the cages, infecting the researchers themselves. The symptoms were horrific: causing rapid internal bleeding and organ failure. Multiple scientists died within days. Realizing they were on the verge of a global pandemic, the entire program was violently shut down. Number 4. CIA's MKUltra. At the height of the Cold War, the CIA launched a clandestine experiment aimed at mastering the human mind. The goal? To create the ultimate psychological weapon through forced mind control. For over a decade, thousands of unwitting citizens, patients, prisoners, and students were subjected to extreme sensory deprivation, severe electric shocks, and massive doses of mind-altering drugs like LSD. The experiment stripped human beings of their sanity. When internal leaks exposed the horrific abuse in 1973, public outrage forced the government to destroy the files and terminate the project. But the true extent of the damage remains classified. Number 3. The Stanford Prison Experiment. In 1971, psychologist Philip Zimbardo wanted to test how situational power affects human behavior. He built a mock prison in a university basement and randomly assigned healthy students as guards or prisoners. The experiment was scheduled for 2 weeks, but within days, the simulation became dangerously real. Ordinary students acting as guards escalated into brutal psychological torture, inflicting dehumanizing punishments on the prisoners. Prisoners suffered severe emotional breakdowns. Realizing that his own experiment had turned into a breeding ground for real-world sadism, Zimbardo had no choice but to shut it down on day 6. Number 2. The Demon Core Experiments. In the mid-1940s at Los Alamos Laboratory, physicists conducted high-stakes criticality experiments, manually bringing a plutonium core to the absolute edge of a nuclear chain reaction. Dubbed tickling the dragon's tail, scientists used simple flathead screwdrivers to keep the radioactive shields apart. A single slip of the hand would immediately trigger a massive, lethal burst of radiation. The hand slipped twice. 2 different scientists were blasted with fatal doses of radiation in separate incidents, dying agonizing deaths within days. Realizing the manual technique was far too dangerous, remote-controlled automation was strictly mandated. Number 1. The Chernobyl Safety Test. On April 26, 1986, engineers at the Chernobyl nuclear plant initiated a poorly planned safety experiment to test if the reactor could generate power during a blackout. They had no idea they were about to trigger the worst nuclear disaster in history. To run the experiment, operators disabled crucial automatic safety systems. The reactor's power unexpectedly cratered, then surged exponentially out of control. Within seconds, extreme thermal pressure ripped the massive reactor core apart. A violent chemical blast threw massive amounts of lethal radioactive particles into the global atmosphere, rendering an entire region uninhabitable for thousands of years. It remains the ultimate warning of what happens when scientific experimentation ignores the laws of safety. Every advancement in human knowledge requires a risk. But as history shows, when science forgets its ethics, the price is paid in human lives. Which of these forbidden experiments shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the dark side of history.